Okay, starting off with a bit of an introduction. I'm a service tech. I was a service tech for 27 years and I also taught HVAC for 9 years. So I've been knocking around this business for quite a while, and I just thought I should go over some. This year, you know, we're having a lot of high temps. And I should go over a few things with customers that might make their air conditioner work a little better. Now, we're not going to change the entire world here. I'm not going to be talking about crazy things that, you know, glop you put in the air conditioner and make it more efficient or anything like that. Because none of that stuff, I believe, is real. But I do want to talk about a few things that you can do, and some of them are free, some of them cost money, but they might make your air conditioner a little more efficient. So we're going to start with thermostat. Okay, here we have a standard old thermostat. It's a setback thermostat. What temperature should you set it at? Well, we generally recommend 74 to 78 for cooling, but that's up to you. What temperature you set it at is what's comfortable for you. Okay, so the only limitation I tell people is do not set it below 70 degrees. The equipment was not made to operate below 70 degrees. There's certain physical limitations on it. If you run it below 70 degrees, sometimes they'll work fine. Sometimes they'll freeze up. They will certainly run continuously, so they'll cost more to operate. So I would not set it below 70 degrees. The other thing is, leave the silly thing alone. Set your temperature and be done with it. I see guys, they come in the house, they're hot, they want to get cooled down fast, so they knock the thermostat down to 60 degrees, and they think that's going to cool them off. It doesn't make any difference. It really doesn't help any, because trying to knock an air-conditioned house down from 76 degrees to say 60 degrees, if it would actually do that, is going to take several hours. You're going to come in from outside, you're in an air-conditioned room, in 10 or 15 minutes, probably less, you'll feel comfortable. You're not going to get immediate cooling when you walk in the door if you punch that thing down. And then you'll forget about it and the stupid thing will freeze up, and that's hard on the machine. You could kill a machine. So thermostat, leave it alone, set the temperature that you want, not below 70. Now while we're in the house, I want to look at one other thing. I want to look at the filter. This is one of the obvious things that you need to deal with at the beginning of the season. Now here we have your standard furnace air handler system. It uses an electronic air cleaner, that's this right here. And what I want you to listen to on this, can you hear the whistling? That's telling me that filter's plugged. That filter's been in there way too long and it needs to be cleaned. And so there's two different, well, there's a whole bunch of different types of filters, but the electronic air cleaner is a little different than some of the throwaways. You can get pleated throwaways. Let me show you a picture of one of those. Here we have a pleated filter. This one's kind of dirty, it's not too bad. This is the El Cheapo of the El Cheapo, just a fiberglass filter. It doesn't look like it's ever been put in. These filters are fairly standard things, and they, you know, I tell people change your filter monthly. Well, you probably don't need to change it monthly, but if you don't change it monthly, you probably won't change it at all. So that's what I tell people. Real high efficiency filters I'm not real thrilled with. You know, there's ones that are going to take all of everything out of the air down to 2 microns or some crazy thing. It isn't that important unless you have breathing problems. If you have breathing problems, another issue. But these high efficiency filters plug up faster and generally, and they have more resistance to airflow, and airflow is what you want with an air conditioner. You want plenty of airflow going through it. So get yourself a clean filter, and that'll do a lot towards making this thing run as good as it can. Now let's take a look at the outdoor unit. Okay, here we are at the outdoor unit. Perfect situation, just the way it should be, right? Of course not. There's stuff, vegetation all over this unit. I allowed this to happen to this air conditioner so I could show you this situation. You need to clear the vegetation away from the condenser. 6 inches minimum, 1 foot would be better, but clear anything like that away from it. Now, in a later video, I'll probably try to show you how to clean one of these condensers. But understand, these condensers, they don't get all that dirty most of the time, unless there's something that affects them, like some sort of dryer vent that's right next to them or something like that. They are usually pretty clean. The air inside your house is far dirtier. There's just too many things. It's all recycled air. There's grease. There's all kinds of things with it. But it doesn't make that much difference here. Occasionally it happens to where these condensers get plugged, but it's not real common. So clear all this vegetation away, and I'm going to show you another little tip. It's kind of a diagnostic thing, I guess, but there's nothing you can do to fix it. I'll show you something to try so that you know whether there's a problem with your air conditioner. So let's go ahead and do that. Now here, I'm going to give you a little tip. And this is kind of a diagnostic tip. Doesn't mean you can fix this thing or anything like this. But with the unit running like it is now, and it has been running for maybe 5-10 minutes, it's 95 degrees out here right now. And if you look down here, there are 2 pipes. This one here, the little one, it should be warm. And if you look way down here, there's a big one. And if you put your fingers down on that little pipe, or the big pipe, excuse me, it should feel very cold. Now, this service techs know how to do this, and you really probably don't. But if you reach down here and this does not feel very cold, we call it beer can cold, probably not the best analogy, but that's the analogy we use. Okay, you should put your fingers on that. If you can't, if you can't get to it, if it's all covered up in this black stuff, take a slit in this black stuff. It's an insulation. Put your fingers inside. It should be very cold. If it's kind of cold, if it's kind of luke cold, call a service tech. You may have a problem with the unit. It could be low on charge. That's the most common problem, but at least you can kind of halfway diagnose. Okay, that's it on the outdoor unit. Now we're going to talk about a few things that can really make a difference in air conditioning use. How much time it spends on, and so on. This house is located more or less north to south, east to west. It's fairly close. You're looking at the west wall of the upper floor. And if you look at the top, you will see 2 big glass windows. Okay, nice picture windows, 5x6, so on. They're facing west. Now, when I first built this house, I had the utility come out and do a load calc for cooling. Well, cooling and heating, both. And, okay, the rest of this is going to be opinion, but they told me I could put a 2-ton, maybe a 2.5-ton air conditioner on this house and it would cool it fine. I didn't believe them. I put a 3-ton air conditioner on it, and during the hot weather in the summer, it ran continuously in the afternoon. It never shut off. It was maxed out. 3-ton was maxed out. They told me 2-ton would probably do it and 2.5 would be better. They were wrong. Those are west-facing windows. I believe many of the calcs have been, excuse me, we got the train coming by. Hold on a sec. Okay, continuing on, the train is mostly gone. Okay, if I had my air conditioner running continuously at 3 tons when 2.5 tons was supposed to be plenty to handle it, I have a problem with the sun coming in the windows. And that was the problem I had. Mostly it was through these 2 5x6 windows. So what I did, if you look on top of that, I put an awning up there, and it's tinted. That cut me down to where I never ever, even in 100-degree days, I never ever had the unit run continuously. My estimate is it took about 1/2 ton off the air conditioning. So consider that when you're looking at these things. You can use internal blinds, and they help some, but they're not as good as an external filter like we have here. So while we're looking at this, look around your place. What do you have? Trees next to your house? Is it just wide open? Is there blacktop in front of the house? All these kind of things are going to affect your load on the air conditioner. Let's take a look up here. Okay, now that's a vent. It's a gable vent, and what do you think the temperature is? It's 95 degrees out here today. What do you think the temperature is inside that attic? Well, I can tell you from experience, it can be up to 150 degrees in that attic on these hot days. I've been up in a number of them. Okay, you need to have a vent fan, temperature actuated vent fan on that vent. That's going to pull a lot of that hot air out of there. Now that is compounded more so if you have what I consider to be the world's worst ductwork system. If you have ductwork in your attic, you know, this is opinion here, but ductwork should not be in attics. And that's my opinion. It's too hot. It's too cold. That equipment is not. It's not good to be up there. Yes, the ducts up there are required to be insulated, but they're not insulated enough. And so I don't like the things up there. If that's what you got, that's what you got. There's nothing else you can do, but you can put an attic fan in. And of course, there's insulation. If you want to put insulation up there, I mean, for the most part, there's plenty of insulation in these houses, but you never know. So I would be looking to be sure I had at least a foot of insulation up there. So let's look at a couple other things. What we're looking at here is a maple tree. Maple trees are probably one of the best shade trees there ever were. It's too far from the house to do a lot of good. It has to be pretty close to the house before it's an effective shade tree in high summer, especially in the southern climes. I can tell you, if you want to plant one close to the house, of course you got to be careful about foundations and stuff, that'd be great, but that tree is 30 years old. So they ain't coming up instantaneously, guys. It's going to be a while. What does make a difference is if you cut one down that's very close to the house. And I've seen that happen when the air conditioner all of a sudden doesn't work well because there's too much heat. Those things are really great for producing shade where they can. Any tree like that is good. This is the south part of the house, and it's mostly shaded. There's arborvitaes up there, there's all kinds of things up there that help shade it. But the west is really not. That is not shaded at all, except for that awning I put up there. So look around your house, see what there is to do. Now, a lot of guys have talked about going to the outdoor unit. Let's see if we can get close to that again. Okay, there's the outdoor unit. It's out in the sun. Now, you could shade it, put a umbrella over it. Guys, it's not going to make any difference. I know it seems great, you know, oh, I could shade it, just be like it. No, it's not true. The air temperature is still the air temperature. Now, if you could shade the wall beside it and not shade the air conditioner, I think you'd be okay. But, and you know, the deck shades a lot of this area until it gets a little later in the afternoon. But the shading isn't going to make much difference. I'm going to link a series of videos about shading at the end of this video. You can look at that if you want. Another thing, people take and put misters on these things. They take misters that you could buy at the hardware store to hang up on the deck or something to keep you cool on the deck. Yeah, I've done a fairly thorough exploration of those things. They do not help, they hurt. They make very little difference. In fact, they really make no difference in the cooling effect of the outdoor unit, but you do get a lot of crap from the water on your coil, which will make it worse. So I would not do that. I don't think those things are effective. If in any way you can shade your walls, that's okay. But just remember, you're not going to get a whole lot out of either shading the air conditioner or spraying water on it. If that worked well, manufacturers would already have done it. We've gone over a number of things that you can do. Most of them are fairly simple. You know, you can replace windows if you got windows that are antique. That makes a difference. And attic fans, clean the filter, make sure there's no vegetation in the outdoor unit. All these things are going to help make your air conditioner work properly. There's no magic bullet on this. You can't put any goop in it, you know, to make, I'll put some stuff that'll make the refrigerant work better. If that worked, the manufacturer's already done it. So most of that stuff is just a bunch of sales talk. So I hope this helps. If you have questions, I answer all questions that come on the in the comment section. That's it on this one.